welcome to Gefet and Daf Yomi. I'm Yael Shimoni from Yeshivat Risha, bringing to you together with Hadran, learning of Rashi and Tosfot and our Sugyot to have a bit of iyun in your learning of Daf Yomi. So we went out on Ben Azmanim just 3 weeks and we weren't with you, and now we're back learning with you a very, very famous Tosfot, a very serious and full Tosfot, a huge Tosfot in Daf Nudvav, Amud Aleph in Masechet Ketuvot. We will not learn the entire Tosfot, we will just learn part of it because you'll see it is very, very rich. And I might even say that every year when you're learning iyun, we come back to the Tosfot from a different direction. So let's see what this Tosfot is doing here. Why is it here in our sugya? And the Tosfot is dealing with questions on matneh al ma shekatuv b'Torah. If I try to make conditions on the Torah. And the example that we will be seeing here in the sugya, what happens if somebody wants to be mekadesh a woman, but not according to the Torah rules, with a different rule, he's making conditions, not with she'er ksut ve'ona. What will be the law? And of course, it's a question regarding all kinds of conditions that a person might try to do on the Torah laws. So let's begin and see what happens in our sugya and where does the Tosfot begin. So our sugya in Daf Nudvav is sitting on the Mishnah in Daf Nudalid. And Daf Nudalid, there's a machloket between Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Meir. What happens if a man wants to give less in the ketubah? If he wants to give more, of course, that's no problem. That's the beginning of the Mishnah. But what happens if he wants to give less? Less than 200 for a betula, less than a maneh for an almanah or a gusha. How could that be? Is it possible? Or is this sum of 200 maneh a sum that we cannot take down from? So there's מחלוקת between רבי יהודה ורבי מאיר. רבי יהודה says, רבי יהודה אומר, אם רצה כותב לי בתולה שטר של 200 והיא כותבת התקבלתי ממך מנה, ולאלמנה מנה והיא כותבת התקבלתי ממך 50. רבי מאיר אומר, כל הפוחת לבתולה על 200 ולאלמנה מנה, הרי זו בעילת זנות. רבי יהודה thinks that you can take the sum down. Rabbi Meir says you can't. If you will do that, it will not be kiddushin. So how can you take the sum down? Rabbi Yehuda says something very, very interesting. He doesn't say you can just say, I want to pay less. He says, no, you have to say that you're paying the amount that you're supposed to according to the Torah. But then the woman can write to you a shoval, a piece of paper, a note saying, I already received 100 from you. I already received 50 from you. And that's the way that you can take the sum down. It's a halachic trick, according to Rabbi Yehuda. And Rabbi Meir does not allow these tricks, and he says if you, bottom line, are not giving the sum of 100 and 200, bi'ilat znut. The Gemara in Daf Nudvav is trying to understand Rabbi Yehuda, and is asking many questions in Rabbi Yehuda. Two questions in the Gemara. The first question we will not go into the answer, but the second question is the one who's interesting to us right now, because that's where the Tosfot is placed. First question, the Gemara asks, how can Rabbi Yehuda say that you can write a note? We know that in a different place, in a different Mishnah, Rabbi Yehuda is against notes. He thinks that you have to rewrite the original contract. So again, this question you read in the Gemara, the Shakla and Tarya. I'm continuing to the second question. Tama de katav le, אבל על פה לא. למאי? דבר שבממון הוא. ושמעינא לרבי יהודה דאמר דבר שבממון תנאו קיים. Asks the Gemara, why does Rabbi Yehuda require a note? Why can't Rabbi Yehuda just say it? Why can't a man just create a contract in the beginning, a ketubah, original ketubah that will be less? Why do we have to do this? Oh, it's a regular ketubah, but you already received money. Why use the trick? Why not go directly? Why is this a good question for Rabbi Yehuda? Because, says the Gemara, we know that Rabbi Yehuda has a ruling that you can make conditions on anything that has to do with your money. And here the ketubah is dealing with money. How do we know that Rabbi Yehuda thinks that if I condition issues of money, even though they're stated in the Torah, I can play around with them? From a Braita, דתניא, האומר לאישה, הרי את מקודשת לי על מנת שאין לי עלייך שאר כסות ועונה, הרי זו מקודשת ותנאו בטל דברי רבי מאיר. רבי יהודה אומר, בדבר שבממון תנאו קיים. The Braita brings us a man who's saying, I want to be mekadesh this woman, but without my chovot from the Braita. I have 3 chovot from the Braita, she'er ksut ve'ona. I want to marry this woman, but without my responsibility, my Torah responsibility, says Rabbi Meir, I'm sorry, הרי זו מקודשת ותנאו בטל. Rabbi Yehuda says, בדבר שבממון תנאו קיים. If you want to change something that has to do with money, which means shel b'ksut, that's fine. But if you want to change ona, that's not okay. So your condition will work only with shel b'ksut. So this is how we learned that Rabbi Yehuda thinks that you can change the contract, the original contract, by tnai. And that's what we're asking. Why does Rabbi Yehuda require her a note? Why isn't it enough to use a tnai? Ktuba is money. Answers the Gemara. Tell you what, כסבר רבי יהודה כתובה דרבנן וחכמים עשו חיזוק לדבריהם יותר משל תורה. Rabbi Yehuda thinks that ktuba is not the Oraita. And dafka, because it's the Rabbanan, Chachamim can make the Rabbanan stronger than the Torah. If it would have been a Torah law, a Tanai would have worked here. But because it's a Rabbanan law and Chachamim made it stronger, that's why you have to do this halachic trick according to Rabbi Yehuda. And that's what Rashi explains to us here. That's our sugya. Tosfot here asks a very, very, very crucial question. So before we look at the content of the Tosfot, I just want to show you the way the Tosfot looks because it's a huge Tosfot. Okay, so see here, it starts here. And you see here that there are extras in the Tosfot Yishanim talking on this Tosfot. We will look at this extra, Ashitat Rabbeinu Tam, that the Tosfot Yishanim brings to us. And if you turn the page around, you will see there's a whole, almost the entire page is a continuation of the Tosfot. We will not learn this entire thing. We will only learn the first two parts of the Tosfot and this edition of Rabbeinu Tam, just to give you a taste. Okay, so let's begin. The Tosfot asks a very, very, very important question. Al kolchem, says the Tosfot, ודקף לתנאי איירי, ואמר לי, אם אין לך עליי שאר כסות בעונה, הרי את מקודשת, ואם לאו, אל תהיי מקודשת. וכאמר לקמן, תמא דרבי מאיר, דתנאו בטל, משום דמגנע מה שכתוב בתורה. ולא כפיל לתנאי, טיפוק לי, דתנאו בטל לרבי מאיר, משום דבית תנאי כפול, כדאמר באומר. First, the Tosfot states, and says, Yael, you have to understand that when the Baraita said that the man is saying, Harat Mekudeshet li, al menat, she'en lach alai she'er ksut v'ona, he also says another statement. He also has to say, Ve'im yesh alai she'er ksut v'ona, at lo mekudeshet. Where did the Tosfot get this extra statement? Not only saying, I want to marry you, I want to be mekadesh you if I don't have my duties, and if I will have my duties, you are not mekudeshet. Why is he adding that? Because, says the Tosfot, when you will get to Kiddushin, you will see that Rabbi Meir has a ruling that in order for a Tanai to work, it has to be Tanai kaful. It has to be not only this is what I want to do, also to say what happens if this thing is not done. And that's the Shita of Rabbi Meir. Not everybody agrees. But here in the Sugya, we see that Rabbi Meir says that the reason that the Tanai doesn't work is because it's matnan mashaktuv b'Torah. It's because it's against Torah laws, and not because you're missing the extra sentence. So why is this important? Let's see the Tosfot's question. V'teima, in ken, emai hi mekudeshet, harei hitna beferush, שאם יהיה לה עליו שאר כסות בעונה, שאינה מקודשת. What said Rabbi Meir in the Brite? Rabbi Meir said, if a man says, הרי את מקודשת לי, I'm מקדשing you, if I don't have to give you שאר כסות בעונה. And if I do have to give you שאר כסות בעונה, I am not מקדשing you. Rabbi Meir says, in such a situation, the Tanai does not have effect, but the woman is mekudeshet. Mazel tov. Wait, says the Tosfot. How can this woman be mekudeshet? The man said he does not want to be mekadesh her. The man said, at lo mekudeshet if I'm chayav she'er ksut bona. So how can you be mekadesh against his will? How can it be that the Tanai is batel, but the deed is done? How can it be that Tanai batel l'maaseh kayam? It is against his sentence. He said, in full words, no mistaking what he thinks, how can you be Mekadesh her? How can he be Mekadesh her against his own Ratzon? Okay, so that's the Tosfot question. Tosfot is asking something very simple. We were expecting Rabbi Meir to say something else. We were expecting Rabbi Meir to say Tna'o Batil, which is not Mekudeshet. Nothing happened. But instead, Rabbi Meir says something very strange. Tna'o Batil, but she is Mekudeshet. How can it be? Where did this Kiddushin come from? First, Tosfot says, maybe you want to give me an answer, but I think your answer is going to be wrong. A lot of times Tosfot does this. Let's see. Ve'en lomar says, don't give me this answer. So what's the answer that Tosfot says that I can't give? אין לומר דלקח מקודשת לפי שמקדשה על מנת שתמחה לו והרי מחלה, אלא דאין מחילתה מחילה. Says the Tosfot, maybe you want to tell me, how could it be that the Kiddushim are working? Maybe what this man meant to say is, Yael, I'm Mikadeshing you, and I'm asking you to be mochel on your Shertzut Vona. So he really wants to be Mikadesh me. He only is expecting for me to be mochel. And what happens when Rabbi Meir says that it doesn't work? It doesn't work because the Torah does not allow me to be mochel on my Shertzut Vona. This is dafka a very interesting answer. Why is it not a good answer for the question? Says the Tosfot, דהה, תניא, בפרק בית הנזיר, הריני נזיר על מנת שישתה יין ויטמא למתים, הרי זה נזיר ואסור בכולם, מפני שמתנה על מה שכתוב בתורה. ואתה אומר שייך לשנו ירחי. Says the Tosfot, this is not the only place in the Shas that we have somebody trying to play around with Torah rules. We have another example in Nazir. We have a sugya saying that if a person or a man or a woman says that they want to be a Nazirah, say a woman wants to be a Nazirah, but she says, I want to be a Nazirah, but I still want to drink wine. I want to be a Nazirah, and I still want to be Matama Lemeti. Says the sugya, she's a Nazirah, but she has to refrain from wine, she has to refrain from touching dead people. So here in Nazir, there are no two sides, right? In Kiddushin, the man is expecting the woman to be mochel, because there are two sides to the contract. In Nazir, it's not a contract. There is no other side. So that's why if we want to understand how can it be that this woman is a Nazir against her will, we have to give a different answer because Bechila will not help us. So how can it be that the Maisa is Kayam, the Nazirut is Kayam, the Kiddushin is Kayam, and the Tnai is Batel, if the woman or the man said specifically, I do not want to be a Nazir if I can't drink wine. I do not want to be Mekadesh you if I have to give you Erev Sufona. How can it be that she's Mekudeshet? How can it be that she's a Nazirah? So what is the right answer? What is a good enough answer? Tosfot brings the answer of Ri. ואומר רי, דילבדי אלפינן מתנגני גד ופני ראובן הווה אמינא, בשום פן אינו מבטל את המעשה, ואפילו לא יתקיים בסוף המעשה קיים. והשתא דאלפינן מהתן דמהה ניתנה לבטל המעשה, אמרינן דווקא כשאינו מונה על מה שכתוב בתורה, דוגמת בני גד ופני ראובן, שלא יתנו על מה שכתוב בתורה. Says the Ri something very interesting. Ri tells us, Yael, Tnaim were learned from the Torah. Where do we learn Tnaim from in the Torah? From Bnei Gad Bnei Reuven in Bamidbar Perek Lamed Bet. We just read it recently in Parashat Shavua. Bnei Gad Bnei Reuven asked Moshe to give them land in Ever Yordan. Moshe said, "Okay, if you will go ahead and be Mekovesh the Aretz with the rest of Am Yisrael, then you will be Nochel. But if not, you will not be Nochel." That's where we learn Tnaim. Says Ri, because the Torah had to teach us this, we understand that without the Torah, no Tnai would ever work on the Hilchot of anything. It's a Chidush that Tnai works. Tnai is something very strange. How can it be that a person can have this power to put conditions on things? No. You do what you do. You can't condition anything. Oh, comes the Torah around and says, I'm giving you a big chidush. The chidush is that you can have the power to condition. Therefore, if you are lacking in your power because there's a halachic problem with your Tnai, because you're being matne on ma shekatuv b'Torah, so we go back to the original law that you don't have any power in the Torah. So the minute you said the word Mekudeshet, the minute you said the word Nazir, boom, you're a Nazir, you're Mekudeshet, because we are not interested in what you continue saying because it's not relevant. That's what the Ri says. Rabbeinu Tam here has a different answer. It is not here in the Tosot. The Tosot here brings Ri and he brings Rabbeinu Elchanan and many other Bali Tosafot, but Tosot Yeshanim here brings Rabbeinu Tam. Rabbeinu Tam has a slightly different answer. Rabbeinu Tam says, דהווה מפליג בדברים ואין זה תנאי כלל שיתקיים התנאי למאן דאמר מתנאי מה שכתוב בתורה תנאו בטל, והווה כמו על מנת שתעלי לרקיע ובהסוחר את הפועלים. Rabbeinu Tam tells us, go to Baba Metzia. Don't go to the Torah. Okay? He disagrees with me. He doesn't think that the Torah invented the idea of conditioning. No, he thinks conditioning is something that makes sense. You don't need the Torah to tell you that you can do it. So, according to Rabbeinu Tam, why is this woman Mekudeshet? Why is this woman a Nazirah? This is Rabbeinu Tam, you have to learn Baba Metzia. Baba Metzia, we have a discussion about a man giving a woman a get and telling her, this is your get, this is your get, but only if you fly in the sky, only if you go down to the Tehom, only if you will eat a very, very long stick, only if you will walk in your feet over the ocean. Says the Gemara in Masechet Baba Metzia, Machloket, Tana Kama thinks the get will not be a get until she will fly in the sky. But Rabbi Yehuda ben Tema says, this is a get. And halacha is according to Rabbi Yehuda ben Tema. Why is this a get? Says Rabbi Yehuda ben Tema, if a person is saying a tanai that he can never actually do, it is not a tanai, it is kemaflika b'dvarim. He's joking, he's just saying nonsense. So that's why we don't listen to his tanai, because it's a nonsense discussion. What do you mean fly in the sky? If, you're trying to annoy this woman, you don't really want to give her a get, so you're telling her annoying things. It's annoying things. It doesn't have any halachic repercussion, and that's why the Tanai is kayam. Says Rabbeinu Tam, also here, when a man said, al menat she'en li aleich sh'etzut v'ona, it is like saying fly in the sky. It is as bizarre, it is as not serious, and therefore it does not have any halachic meaning. So why is this woman mekudeshet? Because we split what you took out of your mouth. You said that she's mekudeshet, and the rest of your talking is irrelevant because it is not serious talking. And if it's not serious, it's not halachic. So let's look at the difference between the Ri and Rabbeinu Tam. Rabbeinu Tam says, we listen to what you say, but we do not take into account what you say because we think that what you're saying is nonsense. Ri says, we're listening very serious to you, but Tnaim only exists if you're doing it right. And if you're not doing it right, it is a Tnai, but it's not a Tnai that will work, and therefore we will stay in the original law that you cannot make Tnaim at all. I have questions on these both shitot. My question on Ri is, okay, fine. You're saying that he cannot make a Tanai, but he also said that does not want to be Mekadesh. He said that very, very, very specifically. So he really stated that he does not want to be Mekadesh. So how is your answer answering the question? And my question for Rabbeinu Tam is, what happens if this man is standing in front of me and saying, I'm serious? And the woman on the other side says, also, I'm serious. I'm very rich. I'm very old. I'm not interested in Sheretz Uvona, and I still want to be Mekadesh. I want to be Mekadesh to the sky. Okay? How can Rabbeinu Tam come and say that this couple is saying nonsense? So let's first answer Rabbeinu Tam. I think that Rabbeinu Tam does not seriously think that it's nonsense. To say fly in the sky, that is nonsense. To say without Sheretz Uvona in some conditions can actually be serious. But I think that what Rabbeinu Tam is saying, that Chachamim decide to view this statement as nonsense. And because Chachamim decided, it's not relevant what the couple are thinking. That's a suggestion on understanding Rabbeinu Tam. But the Ri is more of a hardship to understand. So I want to continue in the Tosfot and see how the next part of the Tosfot helps us understand Re in a deeper way. So the Tosfot continues and asks another question on Re's answer. Right? The Re said that in general, if you're saying a Tanai against the Torah, it's as if the Tanai is irrelevant because the whole idea of Tanai was only being mechudashim according to the Torah. But says the Tosfot, I have another sugya in Nazir. And this sugya in Nazir says that sometimes when a person is matne and mashakatu b'Torah, the Tanai batel and also the Maisa is batel. What's the situation? In Menachot, Kuftet, the following story, הריני נזיר על מנת שגלח בבית חוניו, לגלח בבית המקדש. ואם גילח בבית חוניו, יצא. הוא מפרש בגמרא, היינו תאמא דהי גפא לציור נפשי מכוון. אמר, אם סג לבית חוניו טרחת, פירוש לכך, אם רצה לגלח במקדש, חלב נזירות. אם אינו יכול, אם אינו רוצה לטרוח, חדרת דרך אילו נדר. הגיע לאמיתא דלא היה בנזיר. והנה פירוש יצא, כלומר שלא חל עליו נזירות. Says the Tosfot, in Masechet Menachot, if a person says, I will be a Nazir, if I will be Megaleach in Bet Chonyo, what's the story? A Nazir has to, in the end of his Nazirut, he has to be Megaleach his hair, but you only do it in Bet HaMikdash. Bet Chonyo was a pseudo Bet Mikdash. A very interesting story. Look up in the internet what's Bet Chonyo. I don't want to get into this right now. It was in Alexandria. And this person is saying, I will be being my korban in Ben Chodyo. That's avodah zarah. So says the Gemara, if he said that he has to be megaleach in Ben Chodyo, yatsa. And the Gemara explains, yatsa means he is not a Nazir at all. So here we see a sugya that makes much more sense to us. I said I will be a Nazir if I am being megalech in Ben Chodyo. You're not allowed to be megalech in Ben Chodyo. Therefore, you're not a Nazir to start with. That makes sense. The Tanai is batil and the Maisa is also batil. So how can it be, asks the Tosfot, that here in Menachot you say that the Maisa is batil, but in Nazir and here in our Sugya and Ketuvot you say that the Maisa is kayam? Why is the Maisa kayam sometimes and sometimes the Maisa is not kayam? Decide. If Ri is right, always if a person is saying something against the Torah, he will have to do what he said. This man will be a Nazir. So how come here this man is not a Nazir? The Ri answers, אומר לי, לא אמרי לנו התנאי על מה שכתוב בתורה תנאו בטל, אלא היכא שמתכוון לעקור מה שכתוב בתורה. אבל הטעם סבור שיש מצווה בבית חוניו כמו בבית המקדש, ואין מתכוון לעקור, נתלן למלך מבני גד ובני ראובן. Says the Ri something very interesting. Why is Menachot different? How is it different from the man who says, from the woman who says, I still want to be Shotei Yain and be a Nazir? It says because everybody knows that a Nazir includes not drinking wine. Everybody knows that Kiddushin is Shel Ksut. When this person here said that he wants to bring his Korban Nazirut in Bet Chonyo, he doesn't really want to change the Torah. He's making an innocent mistake. For some reason, and for that you have to learn more about Bet Chonyo, he's thinking that there's also a mitzvah in Bet Chonyo. Because it's a mistake and not really trying to change the Torah around, that's why we deal with his Tnai 100% that the Tnai does exist, and therefore the Tnai is being mevatel the maaseh because he doesn't have to be, like he's not allowed to be makriv in Bet Chonyo. So Ri here, I think, explains himself. What Ri here is saying, that when is it that the Tanai exists? If I am really trying to go against the Torah, then the Torah itself forces me to do what the Torah says. But if I'm not fighting against the Torah, then the Maaseh will not be kaim because the Torah will not force me to do anything. So let's look again at the difference between Rabbeinu Tam and Ri. According to Rabbeinu Tam, why is the Maaseh kaim? Because I listen to the person talking and I say, oh, he said Mekudeshet, I understand that statement. That's a halachic statement. Oh, that's nonsense. I decide it's nonsense, therefore I'm blocking my ears. I'm not listening. That's how it works. Chachamim decide not to listen to the second part of the sentence. According to Reed, we listen to the entire sentence, but the Torah itself is listening and it says, "Oh, you're fighting against me? I will force you to do my rule. If you're not fighting, I'm listening to you." So these are two different explanations to the big question: how can it be that the woman is mekudeshet, even if a man said specifically that he does not want to be mekadesh her if he has to pay sh'er ksut v'ona? And of course, these two shitot in the Tosfot are a very interesting place to think about, and other shitot in the Rishonim to understand this situation in the Achronim. I really wanted to give you a taste of this very, very interesting Tosfot, and I hope and pray that you will return to this Tosfot again when you continue learning Shas, and maybe even every year you will learn another part of the Tosfot, and maybe some years even the entire thing. So continue working hard and enjoying in your Amal of Torah, understanding and learning more from this Shas Katan Masechet Ketubot. Take care.